Steph Curry is the greatest shooter to ever live, but you already knew that. Your barber knows it. Heck, even your 70-year-old grandpa, who keeps screaming that they've ruined the game every time he sees a three-pointer, knows it. And for those of us whose granddads are no longer with us, don't worry, they know it too. But here's the thing, most people don't fully grasp just how great a shooter Steph actually is. Sure, we've all seen the crazy half-court shots, the ridiculous step-backs, the impossible off-balance releases. We all know Steph Curry can drain a three from anywhere on the court, but that's just scratching the surface. What really makes him the greatest shooter of all time goes way deeper, and I'm here to break it down for you in excruciating detail. So hit the like button and subscribe as I shoot straight into today's video. The three-point line was introduced into the NBA in 1979, forever changing the landscape of the league and souring the moods of old heads for all eternity. The revolution had begun, and it was televised for all to see.
Get it in front court. Dennis three-pointer. Go!
We've had some great shooters over the years. Ray Allen, Reggie Miller, Kyle Korver, the original pioneers of the three, showcasing just how deadly a weapon it could be. But if I were to ask you what differentiates Steph from any of these guys, what would you say? They don't have his shooting range? Or maybe it's because he simply shoots more threes than the average Joe. While those are true, they're just small slices of a much bigger pie. Let's take the top 20 three-point shooters in NBA history. You've got the usual suspects, Steph Curry, Reggie Miller, Ray Allen, and more recent names like James Harden, Klay Thompson, Kevin Durant, and Damian Lillard. At the top, we've got Kyle Korver, clocking in at 42.9%. Korver was the kind of guy who could walk into a gym, and before his shoes hit the hardwood, he's already draining threes. But here's the thing, Kyle Korver was a sniper in a specialist's role. He wasn't the guy carrying a team on his back or pulling up from 30 feet with a defender in his face. He was lethal, but he wasn't the primary weapon.
2 of 10 in the fourth quarter. Indiana is 8 of 15. Korver, that's a deep three. Kyle Korver. Long.
Now, just a hair behind him, we've got Steph Curry at 42.6%. Think about that for a second. Curry's doing everything Korver did, but with one major difference, he's the guy. He's the focal point of every defense, the one who's got 2, sometimes 3 defenders trying to stop him. And yet, he's shooting at almost the same clip as Korver, all while being the most dangerous man on the court. Following Steph, we've got JJ Redick at 41.5%. Another sharpshooter, another specialist. Redick was known for his catch-and-shoot prowess, coming off screens like a machine, releasing the ball with lightning speed. He was a deadly asset, but like Korver, he thrived in a system designed to get him open looks.
Kuzma has cooled off a little bit. Simmons on the break. Finds Redick.
Oh, wow.
Corner three.
Wow.
Got it!
Wow.
And one! Score it maybe for 4.
Then there's Klay Thompson, Steph's splash brother, at 41.3%. Klay is the Robin to Steph's Batman, the guy who could get hot in a heartbeat and drop 37 points in a single quarter. His shooting stroke is pure, and when he's on, there's no stopping him. But here's the kicker. Klay benefits from playing alongside Steph. Defenses are so focused on Curry that Klay gets those split-second windows to unleash his shot. Now, why does this matter? Because Steph isn't just surviving in this lineup, he's dominating it. Unlike Korver, Redick, and even Klay, Steph isn't just waiting for the perfect shot to come to him. He's creating those shots, often out of thin air, with defenders draped all over him. And still, he's just a fraction of a percentage point behind the best pure shooters the league has ever seen. This is where Steph separates himself from the pack. He's not just a great shooter, he's a transformational one. He's the guy who changed the game, stretched the floor to new dimensions, and forced the league to evolve. And he did it all while maintaining one of the highest shooting percentages among the very best to ever do it. So, when you see Steph Curry pull up from 30 feet, know that you're not just watching a great shooter, you're witnessing the best, rewriting the rules of what's possible with a basketball in his hands.
Back from half court, and it's good! A Curry moment in Boston!
Sure, shooting percentage alone doesn't define the best shooters, but it is also about efficiency. The best players take a lot of shots. Take James Harden, for example, who's arguably the 3rd best shooter of this generation, yet he's sitting at 36.3%. And then there's Kobe Bryant, who, despite his legendary status, wasn't exactly known for efficiency. To show the baby-faced assassin's efficiency when throwing threes, we will need a list of the sport's most efficient shooters. Let's start from the bottom of the list and work our way up, beginning with one of the all-time greats, Reggie Miller. Reggie was the original three-point assassin, a guy who made his mark in an era when the three-pointer was just beginning to find its place in the game. He racked up 2,560 makes out of 6,486 attempts. Reggie was the blueprint for what a clutch three-point shooter could be, especially in the playoffs, where he made his name.
Anderson is just screaming. Miller, Anderson up in the air for three! Bye!
But even with all his accomplishments, he's still at the lower end of this list when it comes to sheer volume. Next, we've got Damian Lillard, a modern-day sniper known for his deep-range bombs and his ability to hit the biggest shots when it matters most.
A three from Graham, back iron, rebound Trent, up to Dame at the buzzer. Oh, got it!
Dame has 2,607 makes out of 7,032 attempts. He's the guy you want with the ball in his hands when the clock is ticking down and the game's on the line. Yet, even with all those game winners and deep threes, he's still got some ground to cover to catch up to the top shooters in history. Moving up, we encounter James Harden, a player who has redefined the art of creating space and hitting tough shots. Harden's made 2,943s out of 80,082 attempts. His step-back three is one of the most iconic moves in the NBA today, and he's been able to score at will from beyond the arc. But even with all his high-volume shooting, Harden still doesn't top this list.
Harden with a cold-blooded three.
Then there's Ray Allen, who many considered the greatest shooter ever before Steph Curry came along. Ray's 2,973 makes out of 7,429 attempts are legendary, particularly his clutch shooting in pivotal moments.
Ray Allen responsible for their last 9 points. No! He made that one too. Get out of town, Ray Allen.
Think Game 6 of the 2013 NBA Finals. Ray was the gold standard, the guy every shooter aspired to be, but even Ray's incredible resume falls short when you compare it to what's coming next. And finally, we arrive at Steph Curry. With 3,747 makes out of 8,805 attempts, Steph isn't just topping the charts, he's setting new standards.
From the start, Wiggins again. Here's Curry for the record. It's good! There it is! Stephen Curry! The all-time three-point king in the NBA!
This isn't just about hitting the most threes. It's about doing it with unprecedented volume and efficiency. Steph takes nearly as many shots as anyone else on this list, yet he's made 774 more threes than the next closest guy. He's done this while shooting under the brightest lights and in the most critical moments. Every time Steph steps on the court, he's not just playing the game, he's reshaping it. So when you stack up these numbers, one thing becomes clear. Steph Curry isn't just the greatest shooter of all time. He's the one rewriting the record books game after game, year after year. And he's doing it in a way that makes the impossible seem routine. Now, some critics might say, oh, sure, Steph Curry makes more threes because he takes more shots. And yeah, on the surface, that seems like a fair point, until you dig a little deeper. Let's do the math. To reach Steph's mind-blowing 3,747 made threes, Ray Allen, a legend in his own right, would need to hoist up over 9,000 shots. That's a whole lot of extra work for someone who was already considered one of the best. Damian Lillard, another deep-range specialist, would also need more than 9,000 shots, and Dame is no slouch. He's one of the most fearless shooters we've seen. James Harden, he'd need a jaw-dropping 10,000-plus attempts to match Steph's made threes. Think about that. Harden would have to double his already insane volume to get close. Even Reggie Miller, the pioneer of clutch shooting, would still need to approach the low 9,000s to catch Steph. And Reggie was the guy who wrote the early chapters of three-point greatness. So it's not just that Steph is taking more shots, he's making them at an efficiency that's almost superhuman. He's rewriting what it means to be a shooter, blending volume with an accuracy that's never been seen before. Steph doesn't just lead the pack, he's lapping it, proving that it's not just about how much you shoot, but how well you do it. Steph Curry isn't just a shooter, he's a dynamic shooter. He's got the full arsenal, catch and shoot, off the dribble in transition. He's got weapons that set him apart from every other great shooter we've ever seen. Even when compared to other elite catch-and-shoot guys like Kyle Korver, Klay Thompson, and JJ Redick, Steph stands out. player tracking data from 2013 to 2020 shows Steph ranked #1 in field goal percentage out of over 116 shooters who attempted at least 1,000 threes, knocking down a mind-boggling 45.6% of his catch-and-shoot threes. That's absurd, and like my girlfriend would say, the more you look, the bigger it gets. Steph is not just a catch-and-shoot threat, he's a menace off the dribble and coming off screens. In the 2015-2016 season, when Steph shattered his own previous record to make an insane 402 threes, he did so by shooting 47% on unassisted pull-up threes, 44% on threes coming off a screen, and 39% on step-back threes. And we haven't even talked about his ridiculous shooting range, 35, 40, 50 feet from the rim, and he's still cash. Or his league-high 91% free throw percentage, or his elite 62.6% true shooting percentage. I've thrown a lot of stats at you, but it all boils down to this. The reason Steph Curry is the greatest shooter to ever live isn't just because he shoots the deepest threes, or has one of the highest volumes, or the best efficiency. It's not even about the fact that he can get his shot off in the most diverse ways possible, or that his trick shot library is straight up bonkers. It's because no matter the category, no matter the metric, whenever shooting the basketball is involved, you will always find Steph Curry at the top, sinking the most ridiculous shots imaginable and making it look absolutely easy. Steph Curry isn't just great, he's a revolution, a game changer, the standard by which all other shooters are measured. And that's not just because of what he does, but how effortlessly he does it. That brings us to the end of the video. Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more updates. See you in the next video.